Today we're looking at two amazing instruments from Roland, the Rd-88 and the Juno-DS88. Two very similar looking instruments and very similarly priced, but very different. And this is one of those questions we see a lot on the internet. Should I do the Juno series or should I do the RD series? I'm looking to spend about $1,100 to $1,200. What are the differences and which one might be right for me? We're going to answer those questions today and demo these amazing instruments.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center here in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We appreciate your support and we love to interact with you. Well, Ted, you've already had the pleasure of playing around with these for a little bit. Very cool instruments. Roland does an amazing job at feature packing their designs, and it's incredible to see how different two instruments that are $100 different, how different they can be.
It's real confusing. I try to put myself, it's very easy, in the position of a customer. So you're like, oh, this is about the money I got to work with. This is what I want to get. But what's the difference between this and this? And why would I want that one or this one? Or what do they do?
Well, it's funny because it's Roland and it's $11.99 and $12.99. This one has more buttons and it's shinier, right?
Yeah, and they both have 88 keys. And yeah, this one's a little bit wider, but it's kind of like you said, online people are like, I don't know what the difference is between this and that. And neither did I.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in and started playing them. And to do the demo, I can tell you this, I didn't get enough time with either one of them. I think you would need, this one here is almost an endless amount of time. And the other one was one of the best digital pianos I've ever played. And considering the price, that was the one thing I was just so amazed at, the sound quality and the action quality on the Rd-88. I mean, it really feels like when you're playing it that you can feel like the hammer hitting the string in there. And the sound module responds like that as well.
Yeah, and that's the more recent one too. So the Rd-88 was released, I want to say in 2020, fall of 2020, just an incredible instrument. People were really excited for it to come out, but has the PHA-4 action, which is now on their FPX series, on the 30 and the 60. So you have the PHA-4, you have the Supernatural sound engine, which is very articulate as far as the piano sounds go and the electric piano sounds, and it's actually married together with their Zen core.
Well, I'll tell you what, the layout and navigating this keyboard is like just as much fun as getting an old synth from the 70s, because it's got turnable knobs that work, even though they're multifunction. They have like a 0 to 127 and 0 to 120. Some of them kind of work upside down, which is really cool. And then you have push buttons for every single one of the sound categories, and then they lay in. But ideally, this thing is designed, it has a bunch of sounds in it, but it's designed so you can put a bunch of your own sounds in it. You can put them together and store them in numbers. So like right after your favorite whirly piano, your own piano comes up or something else.
And you can take little small differences. So I think it has 3,000 tones in it. 3,000 sounds is what they call it. And
it's amazing.
And it's amazing because you're going through and you're like, oh, well, I just went through, about 500 that are pre-made, but you can actually control your own and add layers and like, create your own sounds. And there's like the slap back on an electric piano.
Oh, coolest thing. They put a pitch wheel that locks in, and then they put a mod wheel. The modulation wheel works on almost every single sound. And what it does is it gives you that ease of a control over the vibrato. No menu dipping, no having to go in there and hit clicker buttons. And it also does, like you're controlling your Leslie speaker. It's got the speed
on
control.
the organs.
And it works just like if you slap it up and down, it's just like working a little click switch on the side of an organ. And it also has, this is the amazing thing, is those old Roland D50 organ sounds and some of those string sounds that were in the Roland synths from the 60s. The 70s, they're in here. And you can still go in and modulate and change all the things that you wanted to. On here you have attack, decay, and all that stuff. You can modulate the piano, make the piano sound like like a little banjo or something, or just take the sound out of it. It's really a fascinating keyboard.
It's very cool, yeah. And so that Supernatural engine is a mixture of a sample, and we've talked about this in other videos, but it's a mixture of the sample of their pianos and their electric pianos, and they add basically layers of modulation over it, and you can make adjustments on like the let off and the resonance and the string resonance and the depth and all that stuff. You can make those changes in the Supernatural engine, and then when you get to the synthesizer section and all the other voices in there, it's their Zen Core, which is their new engine for, and it's whether it's software or hardware, something that communicates across all Roland products. So whether you're getting like their new little small synthesizers, they have the Roland Boutique stuff, you can take sounds from that, load it into a USB, load it right into this, and start saving those sounds. So it communicates across products, whether you're on your DAW system and working with their softwares, or working with another instrument like say a Juno, and you wanted to, hey, I created this cool sound, I'm going to bring this over, because of the Zen Core engine, it can recognize that and have it ready to pull up on this instrument. And so the RD88, and one of the reasons we're making this video is not only they're very similarly priced, but like we said, the 88 keys weighted. A lot of people who are looking for a starter to advanced intermediate kind of instrument are going to be looking at these two models. The RD88 really shines as a stage-ready instrument, in my opinion.
Or a studio. The sounds in here are studio quality sounds. And the other thing I like about it is when it gets in all the electric pianos, they'll have an electric piano with a certain kind of sound on it, perhaps affect like a phaser, and having instead of go in to a little clicker switch and speed up or slow down, or you just do it with the mod wheel. And it's just so beautiful. It's like having analog gear in a digital form. It just plays like an analog.
And then you can click on the EQ on any sound and just
Alter
three-band EQ. So, and it's very simply laid out. And so we've done a lot of stage pianos on this channel, and we've looked at like say the MP11 or from Yamaha the CP88 or CP73, and we've looked at these stage-ready instruments. And a lot of times they can be very overwhelming, and the layout can be confusing. And it's always interesting to see how different manufacturers navigate. How are we going to lay it out?
This guy's hit a grand slam. This thing is up near the top of all stage keyboards that I've ever played. I really like this thing a lot.
And so I've read a whole bunch of things that people are saying, well, if I knew the RD88 was going to be coming out, I don't know if I would have bought the RD2000, which is their, it's almost 3 or 4 times as much as this. But just such an amazing instrument, and it has reference speakers on it, which is very nice.
About that, they're not super loud. You're not going to be able to run a concert, in your living room with 50 or 60 people. But to get your practicing, this is actually a keyboardist or a pianist, a piano player, an accompanist. This is their instrument right here. This is the thing. You pick it up. It's real light. You carry it, and
it's incredible instrument.
Keyboard.
And so RD88 from Roland, $12.99, incredible instrument. The $11.99 Juno-DS88 can be very confusing because, hey, it's got a lot more features on it.
It's got almost the same sound bank listed across there, but they're not the same sounds. This instrument, to me, was kind of mind-blowing because there's a lot of things on here that you actually have to fool with in order to get through it. I look at it a little different than probably a piano player or keyboardist would, because to me this is a synthesizer player or a synth owner. This is a dream instrument right here because it has all the old traditional sounds from Roland synths that are in here, and it's got a lot of the presets from like the 70s and 80s sounds, particularly the last of the analog sounds coming out in the 80s. The Oberheims and the Yamaha CS80 and all those synths. Those sounds are kind of in here, but they're there for you to play them. But it's almost like this keyboard doesn't care if you play it or not because it's got production quality in it. You can go in and use it's just a phenomenal keyboard, but it does take some time to poke around. And the navigation on it is for a digital synth in this day and age, the navigation is phenomenal. It's got rotary switches and slider knobs that work, and they work for attack, decay, sustain, and release. Didn't even talk about the vocoder or the pitch correction. You can plug any instrument or microphone into this instrument through a guitar cable or a microphone guitar as well, and use all of the effects and all of the sounds that would normally go over through the vocoder, and then you can include it into any kind of pad setting. So it's almost like a DJ where you have, this is the beginning of the song, this is the build, this is the silent, this is the first drop, second drop, third drop, and then you just have it build with, and you can put layer upon layer upon layer, and you can mix it all. This screen comes up. It's phenomenal. It's like a whole electronic studio built into a keyboard. DJs are going to buy these things.
It's like a synth mixed with a workstation, but as far as a full ready performance. And I think it's interesting because when you look at the Juno line, it's not often you see the 88 weighted keys, which was kind of what differentiates this and why I think it gets confused into digital piano line, because people are like, okay, well, I've heard that 88 weighted keys is very important, and maybe this will cross into that, and I will be okay to, like, you know, really learn piano. But there's all this other feature set on there that you might not be ready for.
Right.
And so that's one of those things that we wanted to bring up in this video is this is a very advanced instrument.
Very advanced.
And can be confusing to someone who's looking for, if they're used to kind of the old, I don't want to say old world, but like the normal layout of a digital instrument, like the stage pianos that we've looked at here, or the portable series from different manufacturers, whether it's Yamaha, Kawai, Casio, Roland, kind of that initial layout of, hey, pianos, electric keyboards, organs. This is if you were expecting that and you have a Juno-DS88, and the name kind of hints at this is synthesizer because they put it under the Juno family brand. This can do those things, and you can get a great electric piano sound and a great piano sound, but really it can do so much more. Does not have any speakers on it. It does have batteries, a battery slot where you can put batteries in and use it on the go, basically. But this is really kind of for the recording studio, whether it's your in-home recording studio or whether it's, whether you're looking to just really dive in and start creating music.
Performance grade.
Yeah, performance grade. And whether you're ready to start recording and making your own music, making your own beats, mixing different sounds, making, you can there's a thing called super layering on here where so you can super layer different voices, different sound effects, and just it really becomes so complex, and synthesis really kind of.
This is an intimidating keyboard if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Okay? And I knew how to play it. I knew how to hit the sounds. But when it comes to all of the full production and the depth of what you can do in here, I didn't even scratch the surface.
Yeah.
And I have to go back and re-demo this thing because all of those synth pads, all the production, didn't even talk about the sequencer.
Yeah.
There's the first setting. This tells you everything you need to know about this keyboard in terms of, if it looks like a production studio, the first bank of sounds that you come across on here is drums and percussion. That means it's a foundational electronic studio. And if you're a synth person, if you want to just put in one sound at a time, you can do that on here. You can program your song based on patches, whether you want to build it up. You can put sequence parts in it. It's just phenomenal. The depth of this thing is almost like if you were to walk into a studio, say in the mid to late 80s, and they had a multi-track digital recorder and a room full of synths, and all you had to do was play all your parts through this thing and layer them. You can do all of that in here. And then it'll even think for you and put the production together. And then if you don't like the key, you can just change the tempo. You can change, things you had to physically redo 30 or 40 years ago, you can just do on the fly with a
push of a button, yeah.
Like this.
Well, let's take a listen here to both of these, the Rd-88 and the Juno-DS. So let's take a listen.
Well, Patrick, I'm assuming you're not laughing at my demo, but I came to the conclusion as I was going through this that the Juno-DS is probably best described as a production instrument because you can produce all kinds of music on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a playing instrument. You can play on both of them, but this one here is not going to produce a full-bodied sound that you can go in and do that, dance music and put swells in it and drops and all that. This thing here is a DJ's dream or a synth player's dream or a producer's dream because it just has so many features in it. I didn't even talk about how you can do all the cut off, the frequency, attack decay, build in reverbs, all kind of stuff, change the chorus into delays, the same kind of layout. Easy to navigate, but it's so deep. You're not going to pick it up real quick. It'll take you, a few hours. Like I told you earlier, you go home, you set this up wherever you need it to, in your studio, in your music room. This one here, you take to the living room or wherever you sit down and you put it in your chair with headphones and you spend weeks on it. And then you have like almost a full album, all kind of material.
I think that's why they put the batteries there so that
Probably.
you can just take it on the go.
You can take it on the go or move it from the sofa to the chair, the table. Because that now that I think about that, and I mentioned it does make a lot of sense. Because this is the kind of thing that whoever has is going to want to spend a lot of time in it. Not necessarily practicing piano, but piecing together concepts and ideas of contemporary music.
Or building sounds.
Or building sounds.
If you're into the synth world, or if you want to be a part of the synth world, figuring out what cutoff, resonance, what all these things are going to do to each individual sound and start layering and building, really kind of a neat pushing off point, especially here at the Juno.
The push off point for me on synths like this when they first came out is to go to the preset sound. Like say you go to the piano or the Fender Rhodes or the Whirly sound, and the first thing you do is destroy that sound down to like a banjo pick. And it make it sound like all different kind of things just by changing the sustain, the release, the attack, and then the frequency, the filtering, and all that kind of stuff. It's a great way to learn synthesis before you ever touch a big, plug-in Moog or anything like that, because it's all the same thing. But this is just an excellent, excellent educational production tool and very professional use.
And if you're looking to really dive in and try something new, I would say this is the Juno line, the whole Juno family is an incredible place to do that. Has a very rich history, and we actually have a synthesizer channel where we can look at the very first Junos ever made, and some of the great rich history there, the Juno 60, the Juno 6, and we play with those and we see the modern Junos that are being released, and really just incredible instruments then, incredible instruments now. A great instrument to grow as a musician with. Whereas on the Rd-88 is a fantastic instrument to, I would say, get your chops ready for a recording or get your chops ready for a live show. Have it ready and saved in your banks. Have everything ready to go. You're going to make small adjustments like EQ adjustments and a couple effects adjustments. But for the most part, you're looking for a solid action. The action is going to be better on the Rd-88. I don't know if we had said that, but they do have the PHA-4 on this. The action on the Juno is a lesser Roland Roland action, but still weighted.
Yeah, but the contrary. In addition, this thing is a groovier keyboard. It's got all kind of groove in it. And you can make groove. It'll perform all kind of stuff with, and it's funky. I think it's a thing that's a generational, maybe one or two behind me that just love this sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
and it still gives access to the traditional sounds of instruments, even though the sounds are generated entirely different than they are here.
So which one do you want to take home?
This one.
But I wanted to take that one home. Just kidding. Well, we'll share them, but these are incredible instruments. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. The Juno is an incredible family of instruments. The RD series as well is an incredible family of instruments. The RD2000 is the step up, and of course you can spend a lot more on it.
So the answer is it depends which one on the application.
Okay,
on the application.
I agree, yeah. So I think there's so much you can do with these. And we'll fight over who's going to take which one home after the video. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you're subscribed for great content like this. This is Ted. I'm Patrick with Alamo Music. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. Thank you guys for watching.